The corporations of Borderlands are highly regarded as self-interested, money-grubbing conglomerates that only care about making a profit. But there is one that had stood out from the rest: Jakobs. You see, Jakobs is said to be one of the most humane of the corporations. Unlike their rivals, they care about you, the consumer, not a profit margin. But that couldn't be farther from the truth. In actuality, Jakobs is no better than Hyperion under Jack or MacLeod under Katagawa. In fact, if you were to ask me, I would say Jakobs is worse. So much worse. And I say this for one reason: they are liars. You see, the other corporations like Dahl, Hyperion, and Pangolin, they don't hide what they're doing. Everyone knows they only care about a bottom line. Everyone knows they're about making money and not preserving human life. And they make this known to each and every person because they end up affecting each and every person in some way, shape, or form. But as for Jakobs, they would have you believe that they care about you, that they are better than their competitors, but it is all a lie. Worse, it is a marketing scheme. They don't actually care about you. They don't actually value your life, just your money. And by telling you these sweet little lies, it drives in more profit. And to prove this, to prove that they actually don't care and that they only want money and power, we only have to look at Gehenna. During Bounty of Blood, we discover that Jakobs is responsible for everything that has happened on Gehenna. Under the guise of the company, Jakobs ran horrid experiments on the planet's populace and its wildlife, twisting and tainting it in pursuit of indomitable power akin to what Atlas attempted to do on Pandora. Now, I've already done a video on this before, so I won't go into too much detail, but if you'd like some details on Gehenna and the company, you can go watch my video on Jakobs' role there, right here. But to continue with this video, you might say, so what? What happened on Gehenna? That was a long time ago. That leadership, the ones who approved of it, they're gone, dead and or replaced. Jakobs was active on Gehenna when Butcher Rose was just a child, which was, at the very least, over 20-something years ago. But that is not the only example of Jakobs' corporate greed. Gehenna might have been in the distant past, sure, but what about Jakobs Cove? For those who don't know, Jakobs Cove is an area in Borderlands 1 and was the setting for Dr. Ned's DLC. Obviously, by name alone, the Jakobs Corporation is directly tied to the area. And it was in this cove that Jacob ran experiments, secret experiments mind you, on the populace akin to what they did on Gehenna. Now, these tests, without spoiling too much for those who haven't played Dr. Ned's DLC, would result in an outbreak that transformed almost every Jakobs employee and Cove settler into a zombie. I shouldn't have to tell you how awful that is, but you might say, well, that was Ned, that wasn't Jakobs. Jakobs just so happened to be there. And sure, let's say Jakobs didn't hire Ned, and wasn't responsible for the outbreak. That doesn't excuse what they did once it happened. Seeing the Cove as a lost cause, a lost string of profit that would be too expensive to maintain, well, we only have to look at the environment of the Cove, at any wall or poster or board, to find out what happens next. Plastered everywhere are some pretty telling messages left by the now deceased locals. And to bring this all together, for reference, Borderlands 1 and the events that transpired at Jakobs Cove took place roughly 8 or 9 years before the events of Borderlands 3. By a judgment of time, that is not that long ago. By all accounts, the father of Wainwright would have been the active CEO around that time, as he didn't die until very recently. And if we go back to what happened on Gehenna, if Rose is, let's say, roughly around 30 years old, it's possible that Wainwright's dad was still CEO and oversaw operations on Gehenna. And if not him, then Wainwright's grandfather. Either way, Jakobs has shown they are no better than everybody else. Even if Wainwright desires to keep Jakobs out of the mud, the false promises and blatant lies spewed by his ancestors have already affected the populations of places like Eden 6, where they believe Jakobs can do no wrong.
I know our planet may not look like much, but Eden 6 is run by Jakobs. And Jakobs ain't like all them other corporations. It's a family. We do the work, and they keep us from getting killed.
I guess you could say it is easier to ignore evidence when it takes place on opposite sides of the galaxy. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns regarding this video, Borderlands, or its lore, you can leave them in the comment section down below, and I'll be sure to read each and every one of them. Thanks for watching.